what do you think about her tweets?
This is the left 101. When it doesn't go my way, it's racist, and any black man or woman involved in the process who didn't agree with them, obviously they're irrelevant. So that was the diss. Just go wham. Just complain. I mean, that's what children do. They never can accept a decision. And affirmative action the case was even being brought up because Asian Americans felt that they were not getting a fair opportunity. So rich white people.
You're going to love this, because reality just dropped a crossover nobody expected, but somehow everyone needed. Picture AOC bursting onto the scene, energy cranked to max, ready to command the room like it's her moment to make history. For a heartbeat, the spotlight is hers. Then Tyrus enters. A one-man sarcasm tsunami. In seconds, her serious setup flips into a full-blown comedy ambush. What followed wasn't debate, it was cinematic chaos, like watching a drama turn into a roast mid-scene.
Have anything to talk about in terms of merit, you just blame it on rich white people. And it's been a cushion that's been allowed in this country for a long time. And now as you see more, that's the new pillow. My pillow's got nothing on the new pillow of blame rich white people, because you can rest your head on it in any argument. Bring any argument up with me. Anything. Ask me any question. How are the Knicks doing this year? Well, why am I supposed to know that? I'm not a rich white person. See?
If you're enjoying this already, hit subscribe. It helps more than you think. Politics thrives on spectacle. Big entrances, raised voices, and moments designed to feel historic. And no one leans harder into that theatrical style than AOC. She doesn't walk into a room, she charges in, like she's about to deliver a State of the Union, even if she's just grabbing coffee. Everything is maximum intensity, all the time.
Affected or are completely out of touch of everything. This is a big country. Some people, regardless of high inflation, are still going to fly to go. It has nothing to do with lower class Americans who are struggling to pay bills, or people just make their decisions. It's just, they're so out of touch, and they worry about other things, the wrong things, like pardons and perceptions and how they're looked at, instead of like just shutting up, step out of your little bubble. Maybe close the safe spaces, walk out on this crunchy green stuff called grass, and get involved in the world.
Every word AOC delivers comes wrapped in urgency, like the clock is seconds from hitting zero. Each pause stretches the tension. Every sentence sounds like a warning siren. The problem this time? She walked into a moment she didn't control. The spotlight didn't stay where she expected. Slowly, and unmistakably, it shifted to someone else.
Of course they didn't read the decision. And again, these are all successful men and women of color who all have educations, who are sitting on top of the mountain calling foul. Like, this is just the par for the course. It is just, what is the narrative? Oh, that's the way we're going with it? But it was nice to see white men get a break. You know what? Because you've had a rough year. They started blaming some stuff on white women. So you guys get a little bit of the...
That someone was Tyrus. And once the focus moved, it never came back. Tyrus doesn't shout. He doesn't lecture. He cuts through heavy political tension with a look, a pause, and one perfectly placed line. No effort. No strain. Just timing so clean it lands every single time.
And we have fan mail, and I just can't listen to those Nate Silvers and these Saliza people just bites into this glorious show. AOC. What? She's kind of fun. In a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half opinions, in need of some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces does...
AOC never saw it coming, which is surprising, because a seasoned politician should know better than to overplay drama when a master of sarcasm is nearby. She went all in, convinced the outcome was already locked. Applause guaranteed. Inspiration assured. Armed with statistics, dramatic pauses, and that familiar "I've solved this" expression, she built her speech like a superhero origin story. Looming disasters. Evil villains. Herself as the fearless lead. Every gesture was choreographed. Every pause felt rehearsed. You could almost hear the theme music swelling behind her. What she didn't realize was that the more dramatic she became, the wider the opening grew for something sharper to cut through.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she responded to this ruling on Twitter as well. She says, if the Supreme Court was serious about their ridiculous color blindness claims, they would have abolished legacy admissions, aka affirmative action for the privileged. 70% of Harvard's legacy applicants are white. SCOTUS didn't touch that, which would have impacted them and their patrons. Does she have a point there?
She used the word ludicrous. That was cool. That was new. But again, it's the same argument. No matter what you're doing, that it's all white people's fault, and it's just such a great talking point, to the point where it's just literally, if it was a dying horse.
She raised her hand like destiny had personally chosen her. The response: polite applause. Not excitement, obligation. Courtesy claps. Still, she scanned the room like she'd just earned a standing ovation. Big performances create big gaps, and that's where Tyrus thrives. He doesn't need binders of data or apocalyptic metaphors. His weapon is faster, perfectly timed humor. While AOC stacked paragraphs like a tall, unstable tower, Tyrus waited calmly, ready to knock it down with one tap. And the harder she pushed, the more exposed the performance became.
Used a fresh idea or issue in her life. The reason why she gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983. So their problem is, and the reason why they don't have any ideas is they operate.
AOC's strength has always been control. She sets the pace, controls the tone, and expects the audience to follow. Every pause is calculated. Every word is meant to steer the room. But humor doesn't play by those rules. It ignores structure. It slices straight through performance. Once laughter breaks the spell, the seriousness collapses instantly. And that's Tyrus's territory. He doesn't bulldoze with anger. He dismantles with precision. The tension wasn't because her words were moving people. It was because everyone felt the turn coming.
Break from doing nothing to get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back tweeting, your feedback is appreciated. Now pay $8.
The applause faded into soft taps. Eye rolls multiplied. And Tyrus sat there with the unmistakable look of someone who knows his moment has arrived. When he finally leaned in, the energy flipped instantly. The twist. AOC wasn't even there. Roasting someone directly is one thing. Roasting them in absentia, calm, playful, and deadly accurate, is another level entirely. Tyrus treated her carefully staged performance like an improved sketch that ran way too long. His opening jab landed clean. AOC can't walk into any room without turning it into a dramatic lecture about civilization being moments from collapse.
Says AOC has 61% approval rating for Democrats, right? The highest of any Democrat unless they've been elected president. So if your new brand ambassador is going to be AOC, then I think it's more than...
He joked that she probably rehearses speeches in the mirror while brushing her teeth, arms flying, statistics swirling, toothbrush overwhelmed by the chaos. That image alone cracked the spell. Then he went after her favorite move, turning everything into a metaphor for disaster. Spill a glass of water. Proof of rising sea levels. Running late. Corporate greed. Phone battery at 19%. Capitalism is failing humanity in real time. He didn't exaggerate her style, he mirrored it. And once you see it reflected back, it's impossible to take seriously.
They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper, white, middle class, liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans.
What once felt like strength suddenly looked like pure melodrama. And once that shift happens, there's no undo button. Tyrus didn't stop with speeches. He moved to her social media habits. According to him, AOC treats every post like a presidential address, as if democracy itself depends on hitting send. He joked that if the Wi-Fi ever went down in Washington, she'd declare it the greatest threat to freedom in modern history.
Owns a French bulldog. Thanks to Cat Temp, I know everything about French bulldogs. And one thing I know,
I got a French
they are so expensive.
I got
They're
mine
more
for
expensive than any college tuition. That you got to take care of them. They're adorable dogs. But she owns a Tesla and she owns a French bulldog. And she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, sell the dog.
Caps Lock panic tweets because an Instagram live froze for 5 seconds. With that image locked in, the weight of her message dissolved into absurdity. And then came the sharpest hit, the contradiction. Endless warnings about disaster, delivered from a perfectly curated, polished lifestyle. Nothing sells, the system is broken, quite like saying it in designer shoes. Tyrus leaned into the irony. For someone who treats capitalism like a villain, she navigates it remarkably well. His final comparison sealed it. Listening to her speeches is like sitting through a lecture where the professor lost the syllabus weeks ago and refuses to stop talking.
$80 per theater. I mean, I made $80 in a theater and there wasn't even a movie playing.
Wow. What do you mean?
I don't know. You know, it's no surprise. Who would go see a movie that's the opposite of entertaining? There's nothing entertaining about that. Michael Moore's colonoscopy is more entertaining than that because there's probably more twists. But it does show you how great it is to be a progressive in a liberal biased culture. She really doesn't do her job, right? She makes movies, she goes to galas, she sits for glossy butt-kissing interviews in GQ.
You don't know where the lesson started, where it's going, or how it connects, but you're still expected to take notes. Loud. Winding. Exhausting. And because AOC wasn't there to interrupt or redirect, every punchline landed harder. Tyrus didn't need charts or shouting matches. His sarcasm alone flipped the room. By the end, her untouchable image had unraveled into a running joke. What made it devastating wasn't confrontation. It was reframing. Authority turned into performance. Conviction into excess. Once the audience saw it, there was no going back. The sharpest takedowns don't always explode. Sometimes they settle quietly and linger.